Hey, what is up guys? My name is Griefdrums and today, finally, we are going to be taking a look at some advanced map tips and tricks for the map Theme Park. Now, I know this has been a long time coming. In between having new babies and all sorts of other bits and bobs, life has been manic lately, so I can only apologise that this is so late coming out. I know a lot of you have been waiting for this, but it is here. Now, because so many other people have done map tips and tricks, I'm not going to cover some of the basic stuff. I'm going to try and go over some cool tips and tricks that you might not have seen before. We're going to have a look at some cool runouts. We're going to take a look at some cheeky little vault places. All sorts of stuff like that. I will not be doing glitches. I don't glitch in games. Certainly not in this one. It drives me insane when people do. But let's just go ahead and jump straight into the tips and tricks that I've got for you today. As normal, we're going to start off with a couple of drone placements, but I'm not going to kick the arse out of this. This cheeky little one here can be so good for the front lobby area, the upper arcade. You can keep an eye on so much of it, and you can't actually see the drone. It is so well hidden, so I thought I'd show you this. It's a really easy one to get your drone to. Just by going up to the top balcony bit, you can jump over the railing, onto the little side bit. Your drone actually easily grabs a hold of this, and then just by, I mean, you could leave it here potentially, but just by moving across a little bit further and then jumping up onto this section, you can have a really good look. Now, initially, I thought about leaving my drone here because you can see through that next bit. I thought I might clip through there, but it stands out a little bit. I mean, it's fairly hidden, but you can still see it. By moving forward just behind here, it just disappears completely. It sort of drops down behind it, but you can still see through whatever that is there, that sign. It's really odd. But the next tip is another drone spot. We're going to go up on top of this filing cabinet here, and you can actually get up into the roof section. It might take a couple of tries, especially with the new drones, the way you look right the way up. But you can get up here, and this is really good for keeping an eye out on this room. You can also clip through and look at the roof. I don't know why you would want to do that, though. It's not going to provide you much benefit. But you can move your drone all around up here. You can have a good look at the room, and it's nice just for keeping it out of the way and hidden. Really good for audio cues in games. I've used it a couple of times now. You can sort of tell where people are in the room without even seeing them. So, well worth using this spot at the beginning. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at a bit of a hiding spot. Now, this isn't going to be a great spot if you are hiding in the cache room, if you're using the cache room as an objective. You're going to stand out a little bit to the window on your side, but by breaking all of these bits of money, you can actually crawl in here and your legs clip through behind you. I'm going to jump on my drone just so you can see it nice and clearly. As Kavera, you'd be quite hidden under here. I mean, it's quite a cheeky little spot to get away from everything, but your drones clip into the filing cabinet, so it's only your top half showing. Could be quite handy. You do kind of blend in with the bags just above, so might be worth a shot. Next up, we got another drone placement. This is going to be in the haunted house bit. These wires just above you, once you jumped up on top of the gargoyle, actually have a hitbox. So you can jump up on these and move around on them. The really good thing about this is they've already got black bats hanging from them, so you actually kind of blend in. The drone looks like it's supposed to be there and doesn't stand out a massive amount. Obviously, if you're on it for a long period of time, the red light might give you away, but it's a really good cheeky little spot, and it's like having a stationary camera like the Defenders have, so it's worth playing around with this. Now that you can get your second drone out, leaving one behind to counter rotations can be pretty handy while you use the other one to drone ahead. Next up is going to be a nice little line of sight. In the execution room, if you jump up on top of the chair, you can just look over the top of this wall here. Now, by putting a few rounds into that wall, because you are quite protected, by putting a few rounds into that wall, you can open up the wood on the other side, but you don't actually open all the way through. Using those bullet holes, if any daylight stops coming through those, you know to open up. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot through this just to simulate someone's run up the stairs. And as you can see, the stairs are just there. As soon as that daylight gets blocked through those holes, you can just light it up. And even if you don't get the kill, you're lighting someone up and they're going to be low health. So, really cheeky little spot. You're quite well covered. You're quite well defended. Worth trying out. Next up, we're going to take a look at this. Now, this is quite an obvious spot and one that a lot of people have been using. You can open up this section of wall in the little bathroom area, and you actually get a really good line of sight down onto the main lobby. Now, this is handy for stopping people from running in and zerging. You can sort of catch them out. But the really nice thing about this is you can use it as a rotation as well. You can actually escape from here. So, if you've been lighting people up and people are pushing at you from your right, you can just jump down and make a quick escape. In the drug storage, everyone's going to know about this already, but if you jump up on top of the pool table or the air hockey table or whatever it is, you can actually shoot over the top of the cocaine or drugs, and by doing this, you actually are really well defended. You can't get hit through this because this isn't destructible. As you can see, the bullets just don't go through it. It soaks all of them up, and you can't really be seen, but you can see the top of people's heads, so it's well worth using it. Now, the only thing you need to worry about with this is you're obviously quite exposed from behind, so having someone watching the toilets behind you is usually a good idea, because a lot of people like to come in from there to try and attack. By going to this room above, the cafe, what you can do is you can actually open the floor up just here where I'm shooting now, and you get a really, really good line of sight down onto that window. This is so cheeky. Anyone that jumps in through there is dead, and you're covered from the left because this is indestructible, and you're also covered from behind if you lie down. So really, really nice little spot. What I'll do is I'll run outside and just show you whereabouts this is. Unfortunately, you can't get up onto here. You can have a look over there to the spawn, but I'm not going to go into that in this video. But yeah, this window here, anyone that's sort of approaching it from the outside is going to have a real hard time seeing that at the top. Unless, of course, they've seen this video and people have used this before. But as they're looking in, they're not looking up. And their feet are going to be exposed long before their head can see you. So, really cheeky spot. It's got me lots and lots of kills. The other option, if you're not necessarily defending downstairs in the toilet, is to break this window just here on the third line up. And if you lie down, you can see the ramp there as people go up it. Now, you might not get a good enough shot to kill people, but what you can do is, because you've pre-broken it, as they're already up there, you run out and shoot them in the back. Again, this is one that's got me quite a few kills, because even if you don't see them going up, you can hear them. Obviously, if they do make it up to the top and they're pushing down the corridor, playing as Ella, throw a cheeky little Gersmot mine in the drone holes just under the bench, and they're going to be halfway through the corridor, and there's nowhere for them to go. So as soon as they're blind, you can jump out of one of the trains and get them. Now, because this area of the map is such a focal point, a lot of people come here, a lot of people use it for reference, it's good to keep an eye on it. So when you're playing as Valk, by chucking a camera just here, you head over to this part, and you go right the way forward. This is the easiest way that I have found to get this. You go all the way forward into these like sort of metal tins, and you see this beam here. You're aiming for the top one, just very slightly to the right of it, and the camera, when it attaches, allows you a full rotation. You can see everything in here. You can see both sides of the trains, you can see all the doors, your camera's fairly well hidden. You can even sometimes see out of the top and see people's heads as they're pushing for hatches. Another cheeky way to cover this train corridor is for this door in particular on the south side. As people are coming in, they're going to be looking down the corridor. They're not going to look to their right, and if they do, they're not going to look behind this plant. Ignore that first hit, but the rest of the hits are really, really good. By chucking just a few punches into this, no one is going to see that. That ivy there, or the whatever it is that's growing, it's going to hide it. Even if that wasn't there, people aren't going to look directly to the right. So as they come in, they're not looking there. What this can mean is this can allow you to protect it from this red room here, the initiation room. By coming into here and lying down, you look through these. As I said, ignore that top one because that's awful. But by looking through here, you can see when people come walking past. If you've got barbed wire on the other side, you can just lay into them and they're toast before they've even stepped in. One thing I really like doing, this is really good for getting a bit of a peek onto the spawn. By breaking this window like this, it's kind of like on Hereford Base. You can shoot through the tiny little gap. From the outside, this is really, really difficult to see, but you get a good line of sight. The spawn itself is just over here. It's the enemies come running through this bit, and as they do, they come peeking around here, and they're dead before they've even realised it. Someone with an ACOG can just be unstoppable here. So this is definitely something that it can be really, really handy, even to just chunk the enemy's health before they get there. If you're not happy with that window and you're a little bit too exposed, you can come into the barrel room and do exactly the same thing here, and you get a bit of a better line of sight as well. Now, the barrel room itself, if you're defending there, what you can do is come up to the room above it. It's the break room, and by opening this section of floor up here, Valk is perfect for this because the Deagle is so good at destruction. And then you've got the MPX as well. It's a nice sort of mix match. What you can do is you get a really good line of sight onto that window we were just peeking from. You're protected from this window here. You're protected from this window here. The only difficulty is behind you. But if you've got someone covering that, you'll be fairly safe. So you can get a good line of sight down onto this window, stop anyone from coming in there. And if they do push in, you miss them, you can jump out of here and straight in. What a nice rotation this is. You go undetected, no one knows about it, and you're in behind them before they've realised what's gone on. If you're playing as Cav, that can be unstoppable. And certainly if they're pushing in through the main lobby, you can do exactly the same from the bathroom itself. So a bit of pre-work before by breaking the windows up and down. Obviously I've pre-broken that one down there. But as they come in, they start pushing up the stairs to come and get you. And if you can't get a line of sight or they know where you are, come jumping out of this window, turn to your right, and straight back in before they know what's happened. Next up, we have a bit of a dirty line of sight here. And it's another sort of run out, similar to the previous one. I have just tried it on this bit here. So pre-break that. By breaking the floor, you can keep an eye on the single door just below. You'll see exactly where that is in just a second. But as and when the enemy push in, or you know that they're in, you can go out and the door is straight below. So that's a nice cheeky rotation as well. Next up, this hatch. A lot of people like to try and use this to stop people from coming in from this doorway down below. It's a bit of a giveaway when you open the hatch because it leaves so much debris down there. It's nice for rotations, but if you don't need that rotation just yet, by opening the floor just next to the hatch, you can have a good look through, see where people are coming in, shoot them if they do, and if you're not happy or if they manage to get past you too quickly, you've got another rotation out of this window and straight in. Now obviously at this point here I get detected because the door is still closed, but you can nail it. A couple of times I did where you nail it and you don't get detected, but if the door's already open and they've already pushed in, you can get in behind them and get an interrogation off. Now obviously this map is huge, there are so many tips and tricks that we could go through, and I may even end up making another video because there's so many more that I haven't even touched on yet. But we're at a good 10-11 minutes already on this video, so I'm going to end it there. If you enjoyed it, please let me know down in the comments below. If you've got any tips and tricks yourself, let me know those as well, and I'll see if I can fit those into another video. As I said, I'm so sorry this is late coming out. It's just been a manic time in my life lately, and I will endeavour to try and get on certainly map tips and tricks videos a lot faster, because I know that a lot of people came to this channel through my videos for map tips and tricks. So I'm contemplating taking a look at all of the maps again and going through some of my top favourite tips, best lines of sight, best peaks, all sorts of stuff like that, hatch protection. I've got loads of ideas, but I want to know what you guys want to see. So let me know down in the comments below what you would like to see in videos. If you don't subscribe already, make sure to. And until next time, guys, stay reckless and relentless.